Hi, I'm Dylan, and today we are going to build a small circuit with RSCAD. So, open up RSCAD, and these are all my files. So yours probably looks more like this, but it's irrelevant because we're just going to click on the draft button. And then we are building a new circuit. Now this is connected to our RTDS, and it has scanned it, and it knows how many nodes we have, so that is limiting the size of our circuit. So first off, I guess we need a source. So copy a generator so there's a lot of hotkeys, and I will try to make a list at the end, but to copy things, you just click on it and then click C, and then you can drag it to where you want it, and then you click and it's there. And then we are done with our sources. Now we need a wire, which is on this home screen in Power System. There's a lot of tabs, but Power System is, well, I was designing a microgrid, so that is what we used the most. So we'll go down to our bus work and hit the C button to copy it over here. And then you hit W to expand the length of the wire. And then we're going to copy this wire with the C button, and we're going to click the R button, and that rotates it. And now we're going to click the M button to move it back over here. Now when you're connecting two wires, it's just really finicky. You just kind of got to keep clicking and moving it around, and somewhere, yeah, it just jumps to it sometimes, and sometimes it just takes a few seconds worth of clicking. So at this area, we need a node. So these are your nodes. We're going to copy one. I'm going to set it over here. Now, nodes are very important because if we want to get voltages out of this machine, we can assign each node to an output so the RTDS can send that voltages like to a relay or to a circuit board or to whatever you are building. So nodes, use them. And then we need a load. So this is the load that I like to use. Copy, and we're going to need this grounded node later, so we're just going to copy it as well. And then we can close this one out. So even if you don't need an RLC load, you can just zero out what you don't want. So that way, if you got to go update your circuit later, you have everything there, versus, I guess, using just a resistor. You then have to delete it and then put a new capacitor or something in. It's just easier to have them all there, and we can put 0 here and hit update, and then now it's just an RL load. So this is not orientated correctly, so we're going to click on it, and we're going to click R, and now it's spun around, and we're going to click M, and we're going to move it up, and now it's on there. So now we're just pretty much going to copy all this down a couple more times to build like a voltage divider. So C, copy these wires, and then C to copy this wire, and then you're just going to keep clicking, and if it really seems like it's not going to work, sometimes the trick is to set it there and click R, and then click on it again, and click R, and then click on it again, and move it, and reorientating the wires. Sometimes and sometimes it just likes a smaller wire, so we'll make it a little bit smaller, and we'll try this again. But yeah, I have no idea. It's just completely random how these things click together. So now we're going to copy this bus down, and we're going to rotate it, and we're going to click the M button to move it, and we're going to stick it here. And now we're going to copy this, and actually we're not click the X button to delete things. So if you have something that you want to duplicate exactly or move a whole bunch of stuff, you can drag over it, and it, okay, so it skipped that wire. So for some reason we need to draw a better box. So now they're all highlighted, and we can hit the G button to group them together. And now this is one thing, so we can just copy this whole thing and place it here. And then we have to go, we can't have them all labeled best ones, so we're going to go edit these. But before we can do that, if we click on it now, it's going to bring up all these options, and we don't want that. So if you click on your group, you can hit D to degroup them. And now they're all individual again, so we can open this up and call this bus 2, and then that's 3. We're going to have this one 4, 5, and 6. So let's just make this a 480 system, because that highlights something that's important, and that is that these are all in kilovolts. So if you don't want it in kilovolts, you would have to put 0.480. And up here, so the nodes, like I said, they send the voltage out, but this first value in it is the per unit of what the voltage is. So if we set it up correctly, it will calculate the voltages in per unit, and that's very nice if you just are trying to build something and you want to know roughly what the voltage would be. So to do that, you go to load flow and you set this very first node to slack, and then make sure you set the voltages on each node. So we said 480, so, and the rest of these are automatically in PQ bus, and that is exactly where we want them. So let's change this to 0.480, and I guess we need to change our source to 480 as well. Now all that's left is to move this and ground the system, and this needs to be labeled 3, and those are 4, 5, and 6. So this is going to be 7, 8, and 9, and update. Now we go to this compile button, and it's going to ask me to save it. So now on the very bottom we have a compiled successfully. So if we click this load flow data, it is going to calculate the voltages at every point. So yes, we want it to do that. So one per unit there, and then it seems to drop to 0, which does not seem right, but we can adjust. Well, I guess with 0.1 ohms it might just be practically 0, so maybe if we change these to 10, we'll see. More variance in the system. Well, maybe it's just too small of a system, but these nodes are what we are assigning to leave. So that is working correctly. We got no errors. We are good to go, and that is the basics to building stuff. So what we pretty much covered is you want to click something and hit C to copy it, and you set it down, and then you have to click on it again to click R to rotate it, and then you click on it again and click M to move it around. And then you can lasso things and hit the G button to group them together, and then you have one giant thing, or you can hit the D button to degroup them. Now there is no delete, or the delete button doesn't work. You need to hit the X and the X and the X, and if you did that by mistake, there is an undo button, so that is very helpful. And that is the basics of RSCAD.